It's 7:40. Let's do this. The hands fit. The hands did fit, but the shoes, I couldn't fill those shoes. They're too big to fill. I'll explain coming up. Good evening. My name is David Aldrich. Good evening, Hampton Roads in Northeast North Carolina. My name is David Aldrich, Chief Meteorologist of WTKR News 3 Television. And you are watching First Warning Live, sponsored by Marco's Pizza. Now, this is a big night. Big night every Thursday is big because we're giving away pizza pie, lots of it, in some cases for a year, one large, one topping pizza every month for 12 months. That's pretty cool. And at the end of this, maybe toward the middle of this, I'm going to share the winners. So that's that's something to be excited about. You got pizza? Oh yes, but we also have something better. Even if you don't win a certificate, which we're going to announce coming up in a moment, we can offer you some free bread. I mean, free bread? Oh, and we'll throw some cheese on it too. Free cheesy bread? Yeah, free cheesy bread. All you have to do is use the promo code, as you can see illustrated there. That's basically WTKR Cheesy. And there are 5 locations that you can participate with the free cheesy bread. Just go to the website, WTKR.com/Marcos, because we'll be giving away winners again. It won't be long before we give away more winners, so I want you to be participating as best you can. So the web address, again, circling this for your benefit, is WTKR.com/Marcos. All right, I got to get to the weather because that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. One of the things that was noted about 12:50 today. How many of you heard about the fireball? The fireball, you mean like Pitbull? No. Meteorite? You mean like Superman? Not like that. Although, if you're a DC comic person, maybe Superman. But there was a big fireball that came down from the sky right in the middle of the day. It was seen by 5 states: Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Virginia, North Carolina. I might be missing a few. But if you want to see it, again, I didn't take the pictures. They're on my X account, my Twitter page, Aldrich Weather. So go to x.com/Aldrich Weather. It lasts maybe 10 seconds. You could even do that while we're watching this. But I have to get to the weather because it was hot like a fireball. It was hot. It was super hot. Hottest day of the year so far. In fact, the National Weather Service out of Wakefield has a new heat advisory. Starts tomorrow at 11 a.m., runs till 7 on Friday for feels like temperatures. Are you ready for this? Closer to 105. Was it 105 today? No, it was 112. Okay, I'm so confused. Heat advisories, extreme heat warnings. I told you yesterday it was just a moniker. It was still going to be brutal. Today was good evidence of that. But this is the new heat advisory. The last one just expired 43 minutes ago. It expired at 7 o'clock tonight. So we have new counties all shaded in red, not everybody, but a good number of the Outer Banks, Elizabeth City, Virginia Beach, Franklin. This is the new heat advisory for the day tomorrow. If you look at the actual high temperature, I know some of you are like, oh, I'm not so keen about this heat. I'm looking at Wanda Post. She's not too keen about it. Looking for cool air. This heat is terrible. Wanda, I agree with you. It's tough. But when you look at the numbers that we've had in Norfolk, it got up to 99 today. How do you know it's 99? Because I'm going to circle it. It was 99, and we were downgraded to a heat advisory. Doesn't make sense? Yeah, doesn't make sense to me either. But hey, it is what it is. Sometimes it's a swing and a miss. You ever play baseball? I mean, even if you swing that bat 10 times and you hit on base, you get on base 3 out of those 10 times, what is that, a 300 batting average? You're in the Hall of Fame if you do that for the rest of your career or something like that. I mean, let's face it, we can't always be perfect, but that's how it played out. We had a 99-degree day today, and some of us were like sweltering. 112 was the feels like temperature today. And in fact, go back since the start of the week, felt like 104 on Monday. Tuesday felt like 106. That was the peak heat index in Norfolk. I'm just picking one point random. But Wednesday, 104, and then 112 today. I'm kind of curious what you're feeling, sensing, or want to share with me, because I know some of you are like, I need some water. And when we're giving away free pizza, I believe yesterday Jamal was like, party at the newsroom. It's not just the newsroom, Jamal. It's everybody if they use the promo code WTKR Cheesy. That's one of the things I love about that. But I got to keep moving because I want to check in with you. I'm going to see if I can import some of the comments that might be coming in, and we'll continue on this path. But right now, lo and behold, we have a brand new severe thunderstorm. I knew it. You knew it was going to happen, right? You just kind of in your gut knew something was going to pop. When it's this humid, this is for Southampton and Sussex County until 8:30. Now the hail size will be a little bit less than 0.75. So 0.75 is like a penny. an Abraham Lincoln penny. So it's smaller than that, but it affects about 4,700 people. We can go in and zoom in a little bit tighter. I want to look at some of the, it looks like it's just north of, south of Stony Creek. But this is what we're seeing right now, and I want to go ahead and do a quick check on that so we can get a track on it. Does that make sense? I'm also trying to import your comments, so if I'm multitasking, you'll have to forgive me. That's where I am at the particular moment. Yeah, this is a severe thunderstorm warning issued by the National Weather Service. Their wording is it's for West Central Southampton, southwestern Sussex till 8:30, and that this storm was near. Is it Jarratt, Jarratt, we're 12 miles northeast of Emporia, and it's moving nearly stationary. Okay, well, let's use our noggin. If it's nearly stationary, how am I going to track something? It's like, how long is it going to take you to drive to Richmond? Well, I'm just stationary, so you really have no clue of how long it's going to take to get someplace if you don't know it's moving. Barely moving. And I could do a little track on this. Let's do this over the last 60 minutes. I think that would be probably pertinent. Let's do that. Is it dancing in place? Kind of is, right? It's nearly stationary. So if you're getting rain in Henry and it's coming down in buckets, especially on the east side of town, east side of the neighborhood, it's going to continue until this thing rains itself out. Again, it's expected to expire at 8:30. There's also potential, again, 60-mile-an-hour gusts and hail the size of a little smaller than a penny. But these are towns that might affect Owens, Gray, Mason, Yale, and Joyner, and Hilda. Some of the towns will be watching that very closely. So I'll come back to this, but just wanted to show you where we are and what we have in terms of severe weather. If you go around the country, boy, you did that fast. A lot of storms going on in orange. These are the severe thunderstorms that are going on. I see one in northern Illinois because we have a military presence here, a very large one. People have family everywhere and anywhere. So long of showers and storms firing up in Iowa, central Missouri. We got severe weather in orange in central Pennsylvania. Looks like it's even down toward parts of Ohio and not far from where I grew up here in the Wilmington, Delaware area. It looks like a nasty storm approaching here in Chester, Newcastle till 8 o'clock. So this is just south of Wilmington, southwest, where they're getting some very active weather. It's very humid, but coming back home, as I mentioned, the one that we're watching for Southampton and Sussex till 8:30. Now the temperatures, look at this. I mean, does it feel like 100 in Virginia Beach? It does. It feels like 100 in Virginia Beach. Now, if you are sensitive to the heat, I don't know anybody who isn't. If you're sensitive to the humidity, I don't know anybody who isn't. This can be very taxing, especially on the very old and the very young. We've talked about this for several days now, and we knew that this would be a prolonged event. So my encouragement is hang in there. It's not going to be bad like for the rest of summer, but it's going to be a little taxing going into the upcoming weekend. Does that make sense? I just want to give you expectations that are somewhat realistic. It is what it is. We'll see how that goes. Okay, got a note from Marilyn. Can we put Marilyn's name on the screen? There she said. She says, let's see here. I'm going to get myself in here too. She said, I had a beautiful day here in East Tennessee today, because I have a big following there too, having been there for 15 years. She says it's hot but windy, and had a passing shower that cooled us to 82 degrees. Even when you get the rain shower, Marilyn, you would have to agree, it really doesn't really cool you when these dew points are raging high, and that's what they've been. I mean, we've got 98 feels like in Chesapeake. Right now, keep in mind, Edenton is they've had problems. Meteorologist Miles Henderson, who's been here 15 years, he shared with me that their hygrometer, their dew point measurements are a little exaggerated. So hence you get an exaggerated, only in Edenton, probably closer to maybe 100, 105, but it says 113. I didn't want you to alarm anybody at home in the Edenton area in Chowan County. So let's keep moving, because I know that there's some other things I need to cover, and it's only 7:49. Other temperatures. How about Moyock? Feels like 100. Feels like 95 in Nags Head, and actually feels like 100 in Newport News. Did we hit a record today? We did not, but I do have some interesting statistics, right? 100 was set back in 1952. Let me set the stage. Harry S. Truman was president. This is about 73 years ago. We were within 1 degree, but what's remarkable, we hit 90. The last time Norfolk hit 99 was this day a year ago, June 26. What's today? June 26. So you're saying we hit 99 in Norfolk on June 26, 2024 and 2025? Yes. Is that weird? It's kind of weird, but that's just quinky dinky. That's what it was. It wasn't a record. It was within 1 degree, but it felt like 112. And you say, well, the feels like certainly would have surpassed the record, but we can't judge it by that. We can't do that. Elizabeth City was closed. Some of them were closed. Mentioned the heat advisory starts 11, runs till 7 tomorrow. The heat will continue to be dangerous. Ooh, yes, and I got a note from Kim. She says she's not too fond about this. She says, these days, David, these days are miserable. I'd say you're probably right. But, if you just, you kind of know that going in, you get up a little earlier, maybe you can get outside before it's really oppressive. It's still humid. I don't mean to set that stage, but we're still in the 70s, mid to upper 70s tomorrow morning. And based on my notes, we were pretty close to that this morning. So very, very warm to start the day. So we go back to the maps. And thank you for that comment, Kim. We'll keep those notes coming. If you have a note, I'd love to share it. And we're also giving away free pizza. Oh, we're giving away 1 pizza certificate for a year, but we're giving away 10 individual pizzas today. And your name might be on that list, so bear with me. And again, can't do this. I can't do this if I didn't have the help of Marco's Pizza. So we're just going to give out the pizzas. Hang with me. We're almost there. All right, so we got the pizza. We've got the party. We've got everything except maybe the severe weather. Oh, it kind of lines up, right? We've got this for Southampton. We've got this for Sussex County. It lines up beautifully. The green area, level 1, that's today. It moved away from Virginia Beach and Elizabeth City, but that's what's in place from the Storm Prediction Center. Tomorrow, it's moved even further west. You can see that coloring off to the side on the left. And then on Saturday, the chance of severe weather will be mainly north, and it does include Exmoor and, say, maybe Melfa and Chincoteague. So basically, the parts of the eastern shore will be under level 1 on Saturday, where some spotty storms may form. Again, just to kind of recap, this is a stationary system here, so it's not like it's going to be moving to your town anytime soon, but it's got to rain itself out. And the towns, the communities that are getting hammered with heavy rain would be Henry. Think about this like in fact, it's like a car wash sponge. When you have all that moisture, it's like watching a loaded car wash sponge just wring out. And that's with it's this humid, that's what you get. When it rains, it pours. It doesn't take much. Tomorrow's no different. We have a 30% chance of storms tomorrow. That too could also look like this in your neighborhood. Or just shuffle the cards, the deck. Shuffle the deck, hand out a different set of cards. Yeah, this could be over your town tomorrow. But right now, it's over Henry, and it's over Southampton and Sussex till 8:30. Does that make sense? I hope it does, and since it's not moving much, really tracking it is kind of a moot point. But it will rain itself out. It's got another 38 minutes to go. We got a trough or line of low pressure moving through Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. It even extends down into Georgia, so this is like the receiving line, right? You've been to a wedding. It's like the receiving line for storms. So come on in, and they're just popping up with the heating of the day. It's almost like watching water boil. It just percolates and shows up in a neighborhood near you. That's what we're watching today, and because this pattern is slow moving, it's basically what we have to work with. Other notes I've seen here, Frank is very, very dramatic. I don't know if he says worst. I've seen it in my lifetime. Frank, I don't know how old or how long you've been here, but I love that conversation. Let me know. Like I said, I've seen some hot weather, but these dew points that have been very, very high may, in fact, from our friend Jeff Orrock at the Wakefield National Weather Service, said because we had so much rain over Father's Day weekend, 1.34 here, we have so much rain this month that it gets into the soil and it helps elevate the dew points. And the higher the dew points are, of course, we know that affects the feels like. We've already had over 4 inches of rain. This long spell, dry spell, is not going to let up, at least in the next couple of days. Whatever they want to call it. They want to call it a heat advisory? Fine. They want to call it an extreme heat warning? That's fine. But just know, in my view, we still got a lot of hot weather to go, and I just want you to be mentally prepared. I want you to be safe. I want your friends and your neighbors and your relatives to be safe. But when you look at the highs today, 99, that's hot. I mean, to be fair, we were expecting more mid-90s, and we saw that maybe in some spots like Virginia Beach. I was calling for a high of 95. We hit 94 in Virginia Beach. We hit 94 in Chesapeake. But Norfolk by itself and Suffolk were smoking hot at 99 apiece. High temperatures, we start off on a cool note. I think first week we had 5 days in the below average category, but right now it's a 15 to 11 spread. It's really this last week. When you see this, I'll circle it here. This is what's killing the outdoor activities, right? People don't want to be outside for very long. And it's no wonder, especially when it's the feels like temperatures have been well over 100, 105, and in this case, 112 today. As far as 90-degree days, yes, I mentioned we hit 99 1 year ago on this date. That was the last time we hit 99. We also did it on the 23rd of June in 2024. So think about this. As hot as it's been, apparently we did that last year. We hit 99 in June. The hottest days of last summer, I did some checking, was in fact June. We had 14 days in July, 90 or higher, 7 in August, 1 in September, 1 in April, 1 in May. It was a total of 35. 35 days. The average is 36. And the hottest days, those 299 days, were on the 23rd and 26th of June in Norfolk. I'm just using that as an example because it's a reporting station that has decades and decades of data, weather data. But if you look at this track, there is no doubt we're sweating, and we don't have to even work hard at it. When you look at these total days, I said 35 is what we had last year. Normal, it's a little more than a month, right? And as far as what we've seen so far, we've had 12. We're well exceeding the typical June, because June's about 8 days, and July is about half the month all in all. It's got some other notes here. I want to say hi to Denmark. He's excited about the pizza. I think we should just give away some pizza right now. What do you think? Should we do that? I'll give away some pizza, and then that way, if you're sticking around, you want to go, did I win? Did I win? Let me do some of that right now. So we talk about the. Let me get my telestrator cleared off. Talk about the fun fact that we are making this kind of like a weather party. I always start off with the fact I'm doing these neighborhood spotlights. One of the things I love to do is bring attention to some of the smaller towns, but even the bigger towns too. I'm not done. I'll be adding to that soon. But I want to get to the big winner. Are you ready? Who wants to know the free Marco's pizza for a year? What do we need? We're missing something. We're missing, confetti! Yes. Yes, we need some confetti. That makes it just perfect. I wanted to give the big winner to Angela Dawn in Chesapeake. You are a winner. You have just won, Angela Dawn, a free certificate for free Marco's Pizza for a year. The certificate will be mailed to you. It looks like this, and you'll be getting that in the mail very soon, so you can check off June. You'll get another chance for a one large, one topping pizza monthly for July, and so on until all 12 months are complete. We're very happy that you won, and I want to just give a shout out to Angela Dawn. She is the free Marco's Pizza for a year, but don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. As I mentioned, she can redeem those pizzas at any one of the 5 locations. You can use Marco's anywhere. Tidewater area, Hampton Roads. There are many, many more Marco's than just here. But these are special because they're participating in the free cheesy bread that you can access. Cheesy bread. Yeah, if you didn't hear that, you just use the promo code WTKR Cheesy when you go to marcos.com and you get to checkout, the checkout box. You can put that promo code in there. We were giving away, or they were giving away, up to 104 because that was the heat index on Monday, and no purchase is necessary. So whether you won tonight, you really did win, whether you know it or not. All you have to do is use the promo code WTKR Cheesy. Okay, so that's where that is. I'm going to save the 10 winners because we got more to give away. We're not done yet. Got more winners, so stay with me. Let me get through this part of the weather presentation. We talked about the Norfolk 90-degree average. I mentioned the multiple sources for information. If you have a First Warning News 3 weather app, it's a great way to get lightning alerts. You get the other type of alerts like the severe thunderstorm warnings. And I also recommend having a NOAA weather radio in case your phone charge drops off. Like if you lose power of your phone, you got to keep the notifications flowing. That's one aspect. Also, if you want to watch us on the news, we do a 6 o'clock, we do a 7 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock news. We would love to serve you in that way too. So check us out. Maybe you haven't discovered us when you come to Hampton Roads or the Outer Banks. We're on the TV side as well. Our current temperatures are all over. Where it's been raining or cloudy, Franklin, you've dropped to 78. 92 in Portsmouth. It's 89 in Currituck. Kitty Hawk, 86, Manio, 86, and Edenton's at 89. You throw the feels like temperature in there, and it feels like it's about 100 degrees in Norfolk and Virginia Beach and Currituck. By the way, it's 7:59. I'm going to almost get this all concisely wrapped up here in a few minutes, but the dew points are in the mid-70s, so it feels like the swamp. This is part of the fact that with all that rain we got earlier, Jeff Orach, the meteorologist in charge at the National Weather Service in Wakefield, said that has a contributing factor. So when you have these high dew points, it's very hard to get a lower feels like temperature, because feels like and heat index, it's the same thing. It's like tomato, right? It's the same parameter, but these dew points really determine how sticky it feels. And anytime it's above 70, it's off the chart. That's where we've been for day after day after day. And we're not alone, because we're not an island unto ourselves like Tangier Island. We're not an island unto ourselves like Roanoke Island or Hatteras. But there are other places all around the East Coast. I mean, the coolest dew point here, it looks like New York City, but some of us are really sweltering. And the dew point forecast will keep it very high in the low to mid 70s for the next 5 days. That translates to triple digit feels like temperatures. Does that make sense? Current temperature right now in Knoxville. I want to say hi to my East Tennessee friends. Anyone who's watching there, got 87 in Virginia Beach. It's 92 in Raleigh. If you're in the military and you have other locations you'd like me to feature, let me know. I'll do my best to serve you in that way. Got a note from Buzzy. But hey, this is weather for August. I tend to agree with you, Buzzy. Some people would say it's weird, but last year, just looking at the numbers, because I wasn't here, I've been only here 4 months, but looking at the numbers, the hottest air that Norfolk experienced was the 299 days back in June of 2024. It got cooler as the summer went on. Let's see here. Denmark's also on here. He is also commenting about the heat. He says it's way too hot. What is it? Way too hot, David. Give us a break. I'll do my best. I'm just the messenger, Denmark, and we'll do our best. I'd love to see you put a picture of your cat, dog, or maybe your favorite team, whatever that might be. Put it in there. We'd love to see your picture, your icon there with who and what you want to represent. All right, 83 in Myrtle Beach. It's 78 in Atlanta. You look around the country, it's not blazing hot everywhere, but you don't have to be a meteorologist to see. It's probably right in here, right? This is the hot spots right in here. Maybe some of the rain-cooled air, but it's really been east of the Mississippi, essentially, where they've been at, 66? Right now in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and it looks like North and South Dakota, pretty much not that bad, all things considered. Now, I still think, I've said this all week long, I still think we have a chance to get a little bit cooler, in quotation marks, by the 4th of July. That means maybe we don't have triple-digit feels like temperatures by Independence Day. That's my expectation. You see the yellowing here? It's you almost sense there by the 4th, 5th, and 6th of July, somewhat of a pattern change. I'm not saying it's spring. I'm certainly not saying it's February like when you had snow, but something cooler would be nice. Kind of like, could you please change it up just a little bit? That's what I expect we'll find as we head toward the Independence Day time frame. And yes, it's just 8 days away. 8 days away to the 4th of July and fireworks. Exciting time to be at Virginia Beach, the Outer Banks, and the Eastern Shore. Friday's planner doesn't look all that great. I mean, it certainly looks better than 99, Aldrich, but it was 94, mind you, in Virginia Beach. But it was 99 today in Norfolk. I expect it to be a tad cooler. I put isolated severe. In this case, it doesn't really matter. It's academic that when it rains, it will pour. And if you get some downpours like we saw in Henry just a moment ago, it's what you're going to have. Mostly sunny to start, 83 by 8. It's going to feel like it's closer to 104, my expectation, even though the actual temperature will be about 93. Weekend forecast, you got plans? I know Williamsburg has a whiskey and wine weekend. I hope they added the word water. Whiskey, water, and wine, maybe just because alcohol is not the best way to stay hydrated. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about being social and all that, but just keep in mind, hopefully there will be some watering stations at that event. Big event, obviously, in Williamsburg. It looks like a lot of fun. I want you to have fun. Just also be extra careful when it gets this hot, because it's not going to break up much in terms of heat this weekend. Next 5 days, we've got 95 on Sunday, 95 on Tuesday, but by the time we hit next week, I think we have a better chance of getting showers and storms. Heat index, this is kind of like hard to take because it was 112 today, right around 3 o'clock. When it was 98, it feels like a 112. It's come down since then, but this is what we anticipate, right? This would be what the Weather Service, if it's 105 or less, that fits their criteria. Checks a box. That's their threshold. That's their parameter. They work with criteria. So for them, this would be classified as a heat advisory, maybe not the extreme heat warning like we had earlier in the week. But if you think about it, it's kind of cumulative to you, to your family, to your loved ones, to your pets, to the dog, to the cat. They are out in this thing too sometimes, and they got to go outside and do their business. They come back and they're panting heavily. It's just part of the territory. We want to make sure that you're safe. It is now 8:04 by my clock, and we got a chance of rain on the screen. 30%, 20, 30%, 30%, 40. It does climb a little bit more on Tuesday. I've got a 60% chance of rain on Wednesday. So even next week, the chance of those rain showers will increase. We hit 77 this morning. That was the low, but we hit 99 to finish. And as far as the future rainfall, I mean, you're just not going to see a whole lot of big numbers here because on average it might be a tenth or a quarter inch. But we know that they're locally heavy rainfall amounts simply because of the fact that the dew points are so high. It's like watching that car wash sponge pour out on you and your neighbors. It's just kind of the way it goes. But the rainfall forecast here from a regional standpoint suggests anywhere from about a quarter to Edenton and Richmond to almost 3/4 of an inch around Roanoke. If you're on the call, would love to say hi to you. I got Buzzy, I got Frank, I got Denmark. Who else do I have on here? Yeah, we've got several of you. If you want to leave me a comment, I'll do my best to magnify your voice. That's kind of what I like to do. Now, as we move to the Eastern Shore forecast tomorrow, you'll notice the UV index is around 9. The normal high is around 84. They should be about 82 for Bloxham. 84 for Onancock. Chincoteague there, 79 degrees for a high temperature. Maybe that isn't as bad as it was, perhaps today. 85 for Cape Charles and Exmoor. If we move further south to the Outer Banks, you're looking at 90 Kill Devil Hills, 89 Manio, 89 Nags Head, and 90 in Rodanthe. Hatteras about 87, and Ocracoke about 87 degrees. Now we've talked about the colors. I won't belabor this, but level 1 is dark green. That's isolated. Level 2, yellow, is scattered, and anything that's 3, orange, is numerous severe storms. Thankfully, there are no orange colors here. We do have some hot spots in Montana around Great Falls between now and 8 o'clock tomorrow. There could still be some very active weather in Wisconsin, southeastern Minnesota, and central Iowa during the course of tonight, tomorrow morning, and Atlanta, isolated in Tampa, but scattered in Atlanta, and back toward areas in Asheville, Western North Carolina, Western Virginia, from Roanoke all the way up to the nation's capital, and just to the south around Williamsburg. So we already talked about that potential will persist for the next couple of hours. We look ahead to tomorrow. The burden is pretty much squarely over the Dakotas. That's where the most active weather is going to be most likely, according to the Storm Prediction Center. They put an isolated threat in green from Detroit to Fort Wayne. And if you're in the military, you have family in Florida, they too will find some stronger storms that could produce some hail. Didn't want to leave out my friends in East Tennessee, Morristown, Newport, Del Rio, Athens, basically Bristol, Middlesboro, Kentucky. These are the hot spots that might have some isolated severe storms tomorrow, as could western Pennsylvania, and back home here in Hampton Roads, there's nothing really. Friday's kind of like it's a swing and a miss. It's going to be pretty much out of our reach in terms of that. Mentioned that Saturday, there's still more active weather in yellow in Minneapolis, back toward Nebraska, southern, we'll say South Dakota, and parts of Iowa. And heading eastward, we head back toward Albany, New York. Binghamton, New York City could have some isolated severe storms on Saturday, as could the entire state of Delaware, South Jersey, and much of Maryland. And it really covers just part of the Eastern Shore. So I'm looking at perhaps Matthews and maybe up toward Exmoor in parts of the Eastern Shore. So hopefully that covers it up in a little bit nutshell there. Coming back on camera, I want to just kind of walk you through. Again, this is just a projection. I show this to kind of give us an idea of where we are now, where we're going to be. 9 o'clock, a couple of showers that might be out there. Doesn't move much. There's 11, kind of lingers, kind of dances in place. Then we go into about tomorrow morning. What happens? Everything disappears, right? It's like watching the ceiling fan as you flip the light switch. It slows down, right? We lose the heat source that is the sun. As it goes down a little bit further in the sky, we start off on a dry note with mostly sunny skies. But that changes. Look at this, 12 noon, it's squarely in Norfolk. I mean, the model, again, is trying to figure this out. It's trying to discern where we're going. Doesn't mean it's an absolute assured situation, but by 4 o'clock, a lot of it's pushing to the west toward Williamsburg. So a lot of this by tomorrow afternoon in red would be along the I-95 corridor, and then really lights up southwest of Ahoskie at 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. So again, we do First Warning Live Monday through Thursdays, but if you are watching and using the News 3 First Warning Weather app, you'll be able to track these storms as they flare up perhaps in a neighborhood near you. Saturday, pretty quiet, nothing to see in the morning, and perhaps in the afternoon, it pops up around Virginia Beach like so. So that's where things are on the Futurecast. Let me show you one step further. Friday morning, we're again in the upper 70s. It's a very sticky start. like it has been. Temperatures tomorrow may not even reach 88 for Virginia Beach. May only get up to about 85 in Cape Charles based on some of the modeling, but it looks like it's hot like a firecracker in Edenton, Ahoskie, and Conway. So these are the things you have to take into account. There's going to be some variability, especially as we get a northeast wind developing again tomorrow. We had it today. It didn't really cool our temperature. Clearly, we still hit 99, and it feels like a 112. But there could be enough of a water influence that keeps the temperatures down in Duck to 88 and Hampton about 88 degrees. I think it's still a great shot to get to 93 for Norfolk, 92 for Moyock, and 89 in Smithfield. If you've got a comment, let me know. As I wrap things up, the Friday afternoon is 8:10. High temperatures in the lower to mid-90s. And here is your first warning. WTKR new 3 7-day forecast. 94 on Saturday, 95 on Sunday, Monday 94, 95, but there's some relief. I see it. Do you see it? I'm looking at it. I'm going to circle it. It's Wednesday. Notice it's only 89. That seems like it's still hot, but it may be not as bad. And then we got a spotty chance here. I think we're going to be even cooler on the 4th. We'll wait and see how that plays out. So you can keep me accountable next week. Not saying it's going to be in the 70s. Maybe in the morning, but we're not going to find dramatically different. This is pretty consistent right now, Friday through Tuesday, where the hot spell that we're dealing with now is going to become almost feel like it's customary or normal when it really is not. Normal high this time of year is actually 88. We typically see highs around 88 degrees. Does that make sense? Wanted to give you that. Plus, we got pizzas to give away, and I got to get through time. We want to show you a theme tonight. Our happy shots. We wanted to use some of the cool pictures from our WTKR photographers, right? Because they're a very cool, talented group of people. So let me go back to the full screen here. This is from Glenn. This is Currituck County. And yes, these horses are wild. I love them. These pictures are wonderful. And then you got another one from Pete from Currituck County. Pete captured this as the horse runs through the sand there. And then last but not least, wanted to end here with the at least the weather part of it, with Faith. Faith took this picture. It's not Mr. Ed, but it is a horse. Currituck County, he's almost looks like he's enjoying his day in the spotlight. So thank you, Faith, for sharing that picture with us. As I talked about the temperatures for the next 7 days, obviously going to be very, very hot the next 5 days at a minimum before more storms start to roll in Wednesday of next week. If you got a comment, let me know. I'm going to go ahead and change. We've got to talk about the winners. Did you win pizza? I'm going to give away as much pizza as I can, so let's do that. And then we'll go ahead and see if I can pop this on screen. Yep, there it is. It's on the other side. How did I do that? There it is. So we're going to pass out some pizza right now. And we'll go ahead and start with the number one winner. Where do we have that? Let's put this on. There it is. And I'll take the rotating Marcos off the screen here. And that will be a little easier. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Fly back over here. And, okay, let's see. There it is. Okay, so now that we have that on the screen, let's bring in our first two winners. These winners, keep in mind, are winning one free, one topping large pizza at Marco's. I didn't have room to put one topping, but you do get, whether you want green pepper, mushroom, maybe you just want sausage or pepperoni, whichever you prefer. Let's go ahead and put you on the screen here. First two winners, Bernice Johnson from Virginia Beach. Congratulations. Bernice, you just won a free pizza from Marco's, and you can redeem them at the 5 stores we talked about. Stephanie Ravello, did I say that? Or Ravallo, from Chesapeake. She is also a winner. She's won free pizza, a free pizza. These are singular pies. We also have Stacy Lowe from Virginia Beach. Congratulations, Stacy. You just won a free large one-topping pizza from Marco's. And Patricia Burke out in Portsmouth. Congratulations, you are now a pizza winner. Love it. And we keep going. We got 10 of these. Veronica out in Franklin. Veronica Woodard has won a free one-topping pizza. Merle Quirin, I believe, is Suffolk. She's also won a free pizza. We can keep going. Ashley, I believe it's Barbine, Portsmouth. She's just won a free pizza from Marco's, one topping, as has Handon O'Connor from Virginia Beach. And last but not least, we got 2 more to give here. Number 9 and 10 in no particular order. Maureen Gray, Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina. Congratulations, Maureen and Donald Hill from Portsmouth. I mean, that's a lot of pizza. I believe we've given dozens and dozens of pizzas since we started First Warning Live, but very excited about the winners, and hopefully you'll enjoy your free cheesy bread, because you forget, oh, I got cheesy bread too. Yeah, you do. All you have to do is use the promo code WTKR Cheesy, go to marcos.com. So you could have not only free pizza for this weekend, you could get the cheesy bread, which this code will only work through the rest of this week through Saturday. So make sure you check it out, and I hope it's been meaningful to you. Now, I want to carry this one step further. I know it's 8:15. I'm going to try and bring what I was talking about a moment ago about the hands fit, but sometimes you can't fill those shoes, and that's okay. I want to show you a little bit about what we were talking about yesterday, and this has to do with the weather fatalities. It's kind of a sobering statistic, but when you look at weather, average per year, heat is the #1 killer. So that's why it's so important when we do the call to action. Hey, drink plenty of water. Wear light colored clothing, maybe take lots of breaks. There's a reason for it. We want to take care of our friends and our neighbors, and that's the best way, perhaps one of the best ways to do it. Sometimes we don't think about it, even though flooding is #2, 113, that's half of what we get from heat-related illnesses. But rib currents is #3. And we've talked about that before, maybe not as extensively, but rib currents, when you think about it, this time of year, people out in the water, they're trying to stay cool. If they don't know how to break the rip, and they don't understand they're supposed to swim parallel, it can be very, very frightening for the person who's involved in the rip current. And sometimes when the lifeguard says, hey, get out of the water, there's a reason for it. Don't fight the current, swim parallel to the shore to escape the current, and the highest rip current risk occurs typically at low tide. I don't know if a lot of people think about that, but that's one aspect to think about when you look at the forecast and say, I'm going to go to the beach and cool down, or maybe you're at a place that doesn't have a lifeguard. That can also be very challenging from that perspective. So are there any comments? Let me know. I'll continue on and just wrap things up here on the other front. I talked about saving, what was it, the tornadoes, right? We talked about being in a mobile home, not safe. This was my transition from yesterday. I talked about you don't want to be in a mobile home, and that I used to work in my other line of work was in the acting field, where a mobile home was a status symbol. And I had talked about my experience in Wilmington, North Carolina. Back in the early 90s, I was on a Matlock episode. So I showed this yesterday. Maybe you didn't see it. These are honey wagon trailers, and I got to put had my clothes pressed. I was ready to go. I had my script, had a place to take a nap if I wanted to, read the lines. They kept changing and rewriting the scripts, because if you didn't keep track of the colors, the script would constantly change. You have the green sheets, you have the pink sheets. They would constantly be doing rewrites. But one of the amazing stories I had is with these two particular actors, one being Leanne McIntyre, which was Bryn Thayer. She was in like about 37 episodes with Matlock. But here on the left was Kim Walker. And I touched a little bit about it because I was an actor for quite a while, and I was looking to get my big break. And so what many people don't understand is that Kurt Williams was in the magazine that this episode happened to have. So I got a picture of that. If you've ever seen this is News 3 over here, circle. But Kurt was in his 6th year, and of all the episodes, and he did like 193 of them, the only one that, well, maybe there's 2, but one of the ones that he's reading this magazine is the episode that I happen to be in. So I think that was kind of weird. Kim on the left, though, had been in a famous movie called Heathers. For those of you old enough to remember Heathers, this was a 1988 dark comedy where all the popular girls were named Heather, and so she had been known for this particular role. Now, that was 5 years prior to this particular picture. What was one of the awkward conversations I had with not Heather, but with Kim Walker, is that when we first got on the set, she said, oh, what have you done? Because it's common when you get on a set, people want to know what other work might have I seen you do. And so I said, oh, I was in Dead Poets Society. And she said, you're a Dead Poets Society. You must know Bobby Sean Leonard. You must know the guy who was in the theater. He was all about doing the theater and wanted to do Shakespeare when his father didn't want him to do it. It ends tragically in the movie. Because I was the guy in the back taking pictures in the cathedral. Some of you might recognize, if you remember Dead Poets Society, this is Charlie over here on the left. And one of the things I got a chance to do is watch Peter Weir, the director of this film, direct the entire group of people. But most of the extras, which I was, because this is kind of what I did, Kim thought I was like a main principal character in the show. That was not the case. I was more like the guy walking by windows, or in this case, walking the dog with dog biscuits. So that was me in the back. So fast forward 5 years, she is coming off a big movie in Hollywood. I'm in I'm in the blur. I'm just kind of hanging out, happy to be on set. This is the same school, St. Andrew's School, that I had soccer camp as a kid. I knew the area very well, but I knew also that when you were an extra, you didn't get a honey wagon trailer. You kind of got put with they got you on a side stage or put you in an auditorium apart from the rest of the high-paid actors. Because once you're in a crowded group, this is where things work. But what made this experience very different for me is I got to meet this gentleman, Mr. Norman Lloyd. Norman Lloyd was the headmaster Nolan. If you've ever watched the movie, he is actually the guy who says, gentlemen, he says, what are the four pillars? And people say tradition, honor, discipline, excellence, type of thing. But he had a rich experience in acting. I don't know if you knew this. He lived to be 106 years old. He just passed away in 2021. And so even though I was just an extra walking my windows, I got a chance to kind of pick his brain. He had started his career in like 1923. This was like an education, even though Kim was asking me, hey, you know all these principal characters. I didn't know them but she thought maybe I did because I was just an extra. But she was very encouraging me. But real quickly on Norman Lloyd, a lot of people don't know, but he worked with all the greats. He worked with Orson Welles. He worked with Alfred Hitchcock. He even worked with Charlie Chaplin in the silent movie era. And I only know this because I asked him. So when you're a young actor, I was like 18 years old. I was just picking his brain. That was worth the world to me, just to have that experience, to be able to rub shoulders with somebody. He'd got involved with Mercury Theater Group. He worked with Orson Welles, Alfred Hitchcock. My mom had worked with John Gavin, who was the president of the Screen Actors Guild, when he came to Huntington after her pageant. So there was some Alfred Hitchcock connections there. But to meet him and just to be able to talk with him, he was very approachable. I was very grateful for him. And of course, Peter Weir, who also did the Harrison Ford movie with Witness. He was familiar with the Wilmington, Delaware area. He'd been in Lancaster for that Amish movie years prior. Mosquito Coast, Peter Weir's did so much. Truman Show with Jim Carrey. He was all about the nonconformity of like Dead Poets Society. And when I was just sharing with you this picture, I haven't shown this to too many people, but there were a lot of people that just would sit around for hours waiting for them to set up. There were some people that went behind this stage and they painted Dead Extra Society. I thought that was kind of funny. There was just a backstage that people, so-and-so was here. So some of the guys just thought there was so much standing around waiting. But when you get on a set like this and you have an opportunity to talk to somebody like a Norman Lloyd, you take advantage of it. I'm going to end this with going back to Kim. She asked me, and I felt a little bit awkward. It wasn't her fault, it was just me. When she said, well, what else have you done? I said, Dead Poets Society. She just assumed I knew all the principal characters, that I had been on the set for 2 weeks. And I said, this is kind of like my first role. And instead of looking down on me, she said, oh, this is great. She said, this is Kim on the left. She said, this is great. You get this part, and then the next thing you'll get another part. And that's kind of how it works, right? It's a neighborhood. Hollywood is a town, but it's really a neighborhood. And they look out after their neighbors, as they should. And so this was Kim's way of telling me, hey, it's okay, you got this part. Do you know who the director of this episode is? I haven't even told you this. Leo Penn. Sean Penn's dad was in the episode as an actor, and he also directed the episode. To this day, I cannot tell you for the life of me what he saw in me to cast me in this particular role. Now, I can tell you I'm very grateful, but having been on a set with other actors who've had a lot more experience, there wasn't any shame in the fact I hadn't been in any big roles. But she said, you know what? She was like, that's very cool. She said, we're glad you're here. She didn't have to do that. Now, what's tragic, as I learned, Kim isn't with us anymore. Kim, as by my accounts, she had passed away 8 years after this picture. She died, sadly, of a brain tumor. So when I connect the dots, because it's all one neighborhood, she roommated and went to high school with Jennifer Aniston. Christian Slater, she's from LA. They flew her in from LA to Wilmington to film this Matlock episode. And no spoiler alerts, she's the murderer I was the murder suspect in a Matlock episode. You were a murder suspect? Now somebody's just streaming in now going, they didn't vet him very well. No, in the Matlock episode, I was kind of questioned, did you think this was an apparent suicide, or do you think someone had it out for her? And in the end, no spoiler alerts, if you've seen the episode, you might know she's actually the person that committed the crime, and Ben Matlock has to solve that crime along with his TV daughter, Leanne McIntyre. So that's all I wanted to say. But when she passed away, I think it was 2001, I'm thinking Jennifer Aniston's halfway through Friends, and we all know what's happened to Matthew Perry, and I'm just thinking, I'm rewinding the tape in my brain. I'm like, some people's lives are cut short. We don't know. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. But then you have a Norman Lloyd who lives to be 106, and I'm thinking, wow. I mean, you got to understand every day is a gift, and if you don't embrace it, then you feel like you miss out on something. I'm sure there's somebody in your life you're like, if I just had 5 more minutes on the phone with my granddad or my mother or my brother or my fill in the blank, right? So I just wanted to let you know that I've been kind of rewinding the tape myself. I've been doing this little journey that's called life, and looking back, all because somebody had said, hey, you got News 3 in your episode in your magazine. I knew I did it. I knew I did a Matlock episode. I just didn't know that Kurt was on it. It's weird. And I know that some of you are not convinced. You're like, life doesn't work like that. It did for me. And I'm still humbled by the whole experience. But I go on. We've given away some free pizza. I'm excited that you're going to get some free cheesy bread, but you've got to act on that. I can't force you to do that, but I want you to have some little something to eat. Because believe me, there were times where after I had that acting job, there are many in Hollywood who know what it's like to struggle, where tomato paste or ketchup is your vegetable because you don't know when your next job's coming. That's why I think Kim was inclusive in letting me feel like she was appreciative that I was there, because we were just in the same episode and we happened to be both quote unquote guest stars of that show. So that's all. I thought I would focus more. It was because of the fact that jobs didn't come, I later decided I'd go back to school to get my meteorology degree, because I figured I'm too smart for this. I'm going to go back to school. But to end this, the way I started it was that one of the things I loved about Norman Lloyd's stories, about Charlie Chaplin, about Orson Welles, about Alfred Hitchcock, because I love old movies too. Huge fan of Jimmy Stewart. And the one time in 1993 I went out to the Chinese theater, I put my hands in his little, his little square, and I said, the hands fit. I was thrilled. Of course, I'm not too big on my nanny goat facial hair here, but that's me. But the shoes, they're too big to fill. Jimmy Stewart, to me, was one of the finest actors to ever grace the screen. And of course, I have some other stories about him and how he's influenced my performances in theater and stage. But again, special thanks to Norman Lloyd. Couldn't have come to the experience that I had as a young actor had it not been that. And of course, with Matlock, takes hours to set up all the stages, the cameras, the crew. And in that time frame, you're kind of like, well, I'm going to go to my trailer. I would not want to be in a trailer like this during a tornado warning. I can guarantee you that. You wouldn't want to do that whatsoever. So anyway, just to recap here, very thankful for you. I've gone on too long. But just know, as we head into the weekend, there's some free food with cheesy bread. Just know that every day is a gift. Doesn't matter if it's whether it's sunny or serious. Please make the most of it in your neighborhood. See you next week.